Good morning, everyone. I hope you're enjoying your morning. Today in the Pacific Northwest where I live, it's beautiful. After days of rain, we finally have a beautiful sunny day. So anyway, after I make myself some breakfast, I'm gonna go out for a walk and enjoy the sunshine. Then I'm gonna come home and do some indoor gardening. Maybe I'll make a video about that later today or tomorrow. But first, it's time for breakfast. And I used to live in Mexico years ago. I was married to someone from Mexico, and both my boys were born in Mexico. And one of my favorite breakfasts that I really loved was chilaquiles. But my favorite chilaquiles were from a restaurant called Panama. I used to eat chilaquiles in Mazatlan. That's where I first lived when I moved to Mexico. But I'm making my own version. So today we're gonna make chilaquiles from Mexico. Anyway, I'm not gonna be editing my videos too much because I just don't have the patience. You're gonna see the natural me in every video. You're gonna see my mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm not perfect. So many of the videos are just edited and everybody looks perfect. But you know, we don't live in a perfect world. We aren't all perfect. So this is me and this is my kitchen. So welcome. Anyway, so I began cutting an onion. I'm using about half an onion. And this is gonna make probably 2 meals of chilaquiles. So I'm gonna start with half a medium onion, or small, actually it was kind of small. Half a small onion. So it's really about a cup of onion. And so I have that here. And then I already chopped a clove of garlic. I have right here my little Mexican dish. I try to buy fresh garlic from local farmers, and I actually bought this last fall, and I still have it. It doesn't really tend to get old like the kind you buy in the supermarket. So always try to buy fresh when you can, and it really lasts. So I bought probably six bunches, and what I have left is still perfectly good. Another idea you can do with your garlic when you get it is peel it, put it in a jar with olive oil, and keep it in your fridge. And then every time you want some maybe garlic oil, you can pour some oil into whatever you're making, or you can just pop out one of your cloves, chop it up, and it's all there, and it will stay good for a long amount of time in your fridge. So anyway, have my garlic. Tomatoes, I already chopped 1 tomato. I'm gonna chop another tomato. I love to grow tomatoes in my garden. They're like so tasty and fresh, and I love the smell when you get them fresh out of your garden. It's nothing like you get in the store, you know. So, but of course, since this is winter, these are from my local grocery store, and they were actually on sale really cheap, 49 cents a pound, which was an extraordinary price. I don't understand why. They aren't quite, you know, ripe. They're, you know, a little under, but that's okay. Anyway, then I have a bunch of cilantro, and I'll probably just use half a bunch of cilantro. So just chop that. You don't have to, you know, chop it perfectly, but there you go. A fun fact, when I was in Thailand, I took some cooking classes, and they use the root of cilantro in many of their recipes. It has more flavor, but I haven't found the root being sold anywhere. Maybe across the border in Vancouver, I might find it at an Asian market, but here I haven't found it. And then they use the leaves actually for the top, for the garnish. So I thought that was very interesting. And when you smell the root, I mean, it has way stronger, you know, smell than just regular cilantro, which is quite fragrant. And then I have my jalapeno. I'm probably just going to use half. And I'm going to leave the seeds in so I get a little spice. But if you don't like so much spice, feel free to take the seeds out. And if I was taking them out, I would just kind of cut around or use a spoon and scrape them out. Just normally I would use gloves when I cut a jalapeno because I'll have that on that jalapeno lingering on my fingers, and you don't want to touch your face because it doesn't wash off. So if you have gloves, it's a good idea to use gloves. So anyway, chop in my jalapeno. I ate so much spice when I lived in Mexico, like so much. It's really hard on me now, so I can't eat as much as I used to. So anyway, lucky me, that's the way it goes. I tell my kids, don't eat so much spice now because when you're older, you're going to be like me and you're not going to be able to eat it like you did. And so, not that they listen. Okay, and then here in my little dish, I have a couple teaspoons of cumin, couple teaspoons of coriander, and a couple teaspoons of chili powder. I use New Mexico chili powder, but use whatever you like. We may add a little bit more after I taste the flavor. So then I have oregano, fresh from my garden that I dried. And I might use like, just like a teaspoon, just a little bunch here. And I'll crumble it when I am cooking my chilaquiles. So anyway, previously I have my white tortilla. I prefer white tortillas, but you can use yellow tortillas as well, whatever you like. But I like white. And I cut up about 6 of them into small bite-sized pieces. You can make them larger. This is what I have. And then I fried them up in oil and just got them a bit crispy. And then I patted them dry with a paper towel and sprinkled salt on top of them. So they're all ready for my chilaquiles here. That was about 6 of them. So anyway, you know what I should have done is air fry them. I have an air fryer in my oven, and I should have done that. That way they would be more healthy, or just plain bake them. But they do have more flavor with oil, so frying them in oil. So anyway, I believe I'm ready. And if you haven't had fresh tortillas from a tortilleria in Mexico, right when they come off the belt, nice and warm, they are just so great to eat plain. Sprinkle a little salt and just roll it up and eat it. And they're so good. They're so soft and just light, and they're just great. That's one thing I miss Mexico. But anyway, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fry up the onion, the garlic, and the jalapeno in my pan. If it was summertime and it was warmer out, you know what I would do, and I'll do this again in another video closer to the summer. I would take an onion and a half an onion and maybe quarter it, and I would stick it on the grill along with a jalapeno cut in half, and take half, stick it on the grill, and my garlic, you know, clove or 2 of garlic, stick it on the grill and get it all charred. And even your tomatoes, char them up, and then get your blender, blend them up, and then you have that smoky flavor. But we'll do that another time, you know, as I said, closer to summer. But anyway, so now we're gonna go over to the stove and I'm gonna begin frying them up. So here I'm adding my jalapeno and onion. I have about a tablespoon of oil in the pan warmed up. So put that in first and give a little stir around. Just get those a little bit toasted. Add my garlic. You know, just get a little bit toasted there. So I lived in Mexico for a total of 14 years with my ex-husband. I first moved to Mazatlan. I was working at Microsoft as a kitchen manager when they first opened their offices in Redmond. There was only 4 buildings there now. Now I don't know. I mean, not now. There were 4 buildings there then when they first opened, with a little lake in the middle, and it was a great place to work. I worked in kitchen number 4 and building number 4. And I learned a lot about catering when I was there. Very nice parties, and it was really fun. It was like being in college. There were always fun events going on, and you know, I loved it. But I left my job there, moved to Mazatlan, met my ex-husband almost immediately, and he was, well, he and his brother owned a couple large fishing boats, and he was also a model in Mexico City. So I met him, went out on the fishing boat, fell in love, came back to work a few more months at Microsoft, and then moved there permanently. So that's how my life started there. One day I'll make a video and tell you about that life. Anyway, so I have my onions and my garlic and my jalapenos toasted up a bit. Now I'm grabbing my tomatoes, put those in, and my cilantro. Just get these a little bit toasted up as well. So I cooked it here around 10 minutes. And I'm gonna add my oregano, crumble it up. And my cumin and my chili powder and my coriander. Add that in. Just give it a quick little stir. And I'm gonna add 1 cup of tomato juice. I may add more, but I think this is plenty. There we go. In Mexico, they don't add tomato juice, but the tomatoes were juicier. So I just add a little bit of tomato juice. And then I'm gonna just flavor the salt to your liking, because everybody, you know, has a different opinion on salt. Some people don't want any, others want more, and others want just in the middle, like the 3 bears. That little poem. Anyway, what I would do is just take a little taste of the sauce. I'm gonna let it simmer here a few more minutes, but mine needs more salt. Definitely more salt. That's better. And during different times of the year, the flavor will be a little bit different, because right now the tomatoes aren't really, fresh. The cilantro is pretty good. But vegetables when they're fresh from the garden have different flavors. So there's my sauce. Oops, I forgot my hot pad. My hand mitt. Here's the sauce. Looks pretty tasty. Stir it around. And now I'm gonna add my chips. Give it a little stir. In the meantime, I have a tablespoon of, well, it's more like a teaspoon of butter melting, because I'm going to make one fried egg to go on the top. So there's my chilaquiles. I can turn it off now, and they'll just be right there. And I'm gonna stick my egg in the pan. And I compost. I have a garden, so I just bought a new composter, so I've been very diligent on composting all of my vegetable and fruit, the things that we throw away. So anyway, it's better than buying compost. So I bought little red worms to go inside of my compost, and then I get some coffee grounds on occasion from the gas station down the street. So anyway, we're just letting my egg cook. In the comments after you've made it, let me know how you like this breakfast. I don't know, for me it's really tasty. You can eat it for dinner as well. You could get like a roasted chicken from Costco, and you put that on the top of your chilaquiles or mix it in, and you have a little bit more protein there from that. But since it's breakfast, I'm putting an egg on. And this is a good meal if you're, struggling with money. Groceries are so high now. Tortillas actually are pretty high now too. You could always learn to make your own tortillas. Maybe that's another thing I should do one day. Show you guys. But anyway, my egg here is cooking. I'm making it just over easy. Add a little salt. And maybe I'll grab a little pepper. I love pepper on everything. So, a little bit of pepper, there we go. And I'm gonna get a plate. I'm gonna plate my chilaquiles. And here we are. I'm gonna plate up my tortillas. My chilaquiles made with tortillas. There we go. I can't eat them all. Actually, this is a lot for me. So, save those. Here is my handy dandy little egg right on top there. Beautiful. And then I'm gonna take some shredded cheddar cheese. In Mexico, they might use cotija, Chihuahua, or Oaxaca cheese. But here, I'm gonna use cheddar. And you don't just put on however much you like. And then sour cream. I like a little bit of sour cream on the top. And now is the season for avocado. So avocado de Mexico. Avocados with their good healthy fats. So I've been eating half an avocado every morning. I also like it on a tortilla. Spread some beans on there, refried beans, and avocado, and a little bit of salt, possibly a little bit of salsa, and have that for breakfast too. So there we go. There's my breakfast. Chilaquiles de Mexico. I'd like to thank you for sitting with me, cooking with me, whatever you're doing. Anyway, thank you for joining me today on my channel, From Gratitude to Greatness. Cooking with Tammy today. Anyway, you know, when I really think about what's going on in the world today, I think we should be grateful for our immigrants. They bring good food to us. Mexican restaurants are the best when they're run by Mexican people. So I appreciate that. How many of us love Mexican food? They do so much for us. I mean, they're a great part of our economy. I mean, they landscape, they do hard labor that we wouldn't do, work on our farms. You know, farming is what gives us life. Vegetables, fruit, they do that. I mean, so many of us, we wouldn't do that. And that's, you know, we think that's below us. But anyway, I enjoy working in my garden. I think, you know, more people should start gardening on their own. There's so many chemicals that people farm with now, and you don't know what happens on the way to your grocery store. I mean, so many things are getting recalled. I think it's a good idea that people, you know, even do a little bit of gardening. You know, even sprouting, sprout some alfalfa sprouts, some bean sprouts. You can do that right in your kitchen and in your home. But remember that we should be grateful for immigrants. You know, so many just bring such wonder to our country. You know, we're a melting pot of so many cultures, and I find it so interesting. I love traveling to different countries, and I love immigrants. Of course, I don't want illegal people doing, you know, bad things. I mean, I don't mind. I have I'm just frustrated with our situation, I guess. So I fumbled a little bit there. But anyway, you know, we have criminals that are white people from the U.S. You know, what are the school shootings? They're people from the U.S., our people. Anyway, there's criminals, there's crime from all cultures, you know. So anyway, we need to be patient and kind to others. You know, show a little bit of kindness. Have gratitude. Have gratitude for what's around you. Have gratitude that you have a meal on your table. So many people don't. We're so fortunate. And I'm grateful that I had the time in Mexico, you know, living there. They were kind to me. You know, I had some difficult situations, but those were family situations. But out in the street, I found kindness in the market, in the stores, on the street, with the children in the street. Rich, poor, I found kindness, you know, and traveling to other countries. I'm so grateful for all of my experiences. But when you go out there today, you know, show a little kindness to others. Say hello, greet everybody with a smile, because it's likely they're going to smile back. And you never know when you're going to make somebody's day. So anyway, enjoy your day, and thank you. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Well, I'd like to thank all of you who joined me learning to make my recipe of chilaquiles today. I'm so grateful for those who did. And if you'd like to leave a comment, share and subscribe, and let me know how your recipe turned out, I'd really appreciate that. At this time, I'd like to take a few moments to acknowledge how important immigrants are to our community. You know, we just prepared a Mexican breakfast. We have so many Mexican restaurants around our country, and generally they're pretty darn full every day, at least for dinner, at least where I live. and the taco stands, you know, taco trucks. Always busy with hardworking people serving up great food. So I'm like so grateful for that. And then Italian, you know, we have Italian restaurants, Portuguese, you know, Ukrainian, you know, whatever, Thai, another one of my favorites, Filipino. You know, we live in this melting pot of so many international wonderful people. Imagine if we didn't have them. What kind of food would we be having? American food every single day? You know, hamburgers and french fries and steak and potatoes. I like a little variety, and I like to learn about different cultures. So on this day, I'm going to give so much gratitude to all the immigrants that we have in our country. I know there are some bad apples. There could be some pretty bad apples, but we have them in our community, our white community as well. I mean, when we have a school shooting, I think pretty much most of the time it's done by a white person. You know, we have lots of violent crimes done by white people as well. And then we have ICE going into schools and now taking kids or taking the parents from in front of the schools, you know. I'm just so grateful for all of the immigrants that are law-abiding citizens. I know how hard it is to get into the country, you know, when you want to come into the country legally. I was married to a person from Mexico. It took over 2 years for me to get him here, and that was paying a lot of money. And that was finally when a senator, a friend of my aunt and uncle's, stepped in to help get him into the country legally. It was a nightmare. So I understand people from other countries want a better life, and you know, I've seen the way people live in other countries, and it's unbearable. We couldn't live like that. I mean, we do have people living on our streets right now, American people, and that is a very sad thing. But I'm taking this time to acknowledge our immigrants and say how grateful I am for them, and I hope that you are too. So anyway, I hope that all of you have a wonderful day, and join me next time. I don't know what I'll be doing. I could be cooking, I could just chat, I could go on a little hike, I could go do something like bungee off a bridge. Probably won't do that, but I have bungeed into a canyon, or actually it was a free fall. But so anyway, join me next time for the next surprise. Thank you. Enjoy your day.